Okay, here we are outside of the Roux restaurant, and we're going to go in and have a little tour.
We have a young gentleman that his name is Christian, and he's a really, really good artist. He's put some nice art up for us. On this wall over here, we're trying to get him, the wall you just saw that's blank, we're trying to get him to throw a nice piece of art up there. His name's Christian Leone. He's a young local artist, really, really talented kid. We got this. We had all these segments from peach trees and avocado trees and everything like that put in here. We're trying still to get some epoxy resin so we can kind of glass it over, but we haven't been able to find that yet.
It's a nice backyard here.
Mm-hmm. Well, my name is Mike Trzpit.
Okay.
And
what we were talking about was how you all came here and got involved in the restaurant business. Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell me a little bit about your side of the story?
Sure, it's probably pretty similar to Abby. We were, kind of on the same page with everything. Just kind of, kind of finished with, the States for a little while. Wanted to just try something different, and really searched everywhere, really in the world. A lot of different places in the world, just checking things out, and decided to move down to South America, and thought Cuenca would be a good place to start after a few months of research. And then we thought we'd kind of maybe move around and check different places out, but we really, really enjoyed the city, enjoyed the people, and really saw a nice opportunity to open up a business, which is nice. Not working for yourself is, it's a lot more hours than we're used to doing back in the States, but it's nice.
Yeah, how difficult was that to get going? I mean, to get involved, get started. What were the challenges that you faced?
Sure. I mean, it really, surprisingly, it was just, the paperwork side of things was the problem. I mean, really, health department, fire department, those kind of guys are, were pretty, we were lucky. It was already zoned commercial, everything, the walls were done, the floors were done, bathrooms were in, all that stuff was already complete. So we just needed to build a kitchen and get some tables and chairs built, and just kind of assemble that stuff. So we were lucky where we moved in about June 1st, and we were open the 21st of July. So 6-7 weeks we were open.
Did you actually do the conversion of this house to?
No, we were living. We were living on the other side of the city in Puerto del Sol, and we mentioned to our landlord we were thinking about opening up a restaurant, and she said, "Well, I have a property if you want to come check it out." We actually were on our way to put a deposit down on a very, very small little restaurant. It was already a restaurant. Very small and on Ramiro Crespo, but we just want to get something started, something going. And she's like, well, come check out this other property. And so we came over here, and again, like I said, they had spent the last 9-10 months leading up to us coming to check it out, refurbishing it and restoring it and doing a lot of work. It's her husband's house that he grew up in, actually.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they took out a staircase, they made the whole bottom commercial and upstairs residential, and we saw it and we thought it was really just a perfect space for what we wanted to do.
Can you, we'll just take a look at what you're doing here for a minute, and then maybe we can go in and take a look around inside?
Yeah, sure. Really not too much to see right now because I've already done the majority of the smoking. So now I just have the ribs and the brisket and everything just in tin foil, just trying to keep that the heat constant. Little chorizo still working here. That's about it right now.
Tell me a little bit about your Thursday night event.
Sure. Basically what we do is, I was lucky enough to have a buddy from the States. He's a retired guy, and just retired and just kind of gets bored, just not having a job. So he's kind of helped out with his free time and got a guy to build a smoker for us. And so basically what we do is we smoke brisket, we smoke baby back ribs and spare ribs, chorizo, sometimes some chicken, pulled pork, those kind of things. And we do a composed plate of 3 or 4 of those proteins. Then we'll do a cucumber and tomato salad or German potato salad or just whatever we're kind of feeling like doing. And so you get a little bit of everything. It tastes a little bit of everything, and I do kind of go the way of the Carolina vinegar-based barbecue sauce. Yeah, that's definitely the way I go with the mustard and a lot of apple cider vinegar.
You get a good crowd here for your.
We do. We have a gentleman by the name of Matt Hart that played 2 weeks ago. He's a blues musician from Oklahoma City. I think he's around 40 years old. Really, really nice guy. And that was his first gig here. He had played a bunch in the States, and he's actually coming back again tonight. So we'll probably have him once or twice a month come in, and we kind of want to tie in the blues, brews, and barbecue kind of thing. Get some beers, get some barbecue, and listen to some blues. So yeah, so we do different things every night. You know, Tuesday night's the trivia, team trivia night. Wednesday night's half-price bottle of wine. Thursday night is the barbecue. Sunday's brunch, and I think even Saturday we're gonna maybe close and just do private events, like just different things. You know, maybe wine tastings. You know, maybe art, like kind of painting type classes and stuff like that, which are really popular in the States. We want to maybe try those things, but you got to give different things a chance. You know, see what sticks.
It looks like you get a pretty good mixed crowd here of locals as well as expats.
Yeah, we're building, especially with the local community. It's all, you know, talking to some of the more affluent, middle, upper class locals. They say really the best thing is word of mouth, and unfortunately that takes a little bit of time. But sure. 6 or 7 months in, you know, it's been a slow build for them, but we've been lucky to have a lot of locals just kind of coming back, and also spreading the word for us too.
So here we are at the Rue restaurant in Cuenca, Ecuador. Is that right? The Rue?
Mm-hmm. Rue, yes, and you actually said it right. Okay. Everybody here says Rooks.
Well, Rue, it's a food. I mean, the food mixture, right?
Right, it's the base for most French cooking, with the flour and the butter and the oil to make the thickening and the flavoring for a lot of French sauces.
They used to make great roux in New Orleans, I remember. Mm-hmm. So we're just going to have a conversation. I'm going to ask you some questions, and then you can pitch in. I'd like to not talk too much.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have a habit of doing. But it's really about your story.
Okay.
So why don't we start off with who you are?
Okay. Well, my name is Abby Trzpit. My husband and daughter and I we're originally from the States. I'm from Kentucky, land of bourbon and horses and all that good stuff. And my husband's from Massachusetts.
Where in Kentucky?
Right outside of Louisville.
Okay.
Shelbyville, so about 30 minutes outside of Louisville. And and then my husband and I, we met in Charleston, South Carolina. I went to college at Charleston, and that's where I met him. And so we spent about 5 years in Charleston. That's where our daughter was born. Then made our way back to Kentucky for jobs that we were recruited into, and then worked in corporate insurance for a company in Kentucky. Both of us worked for the same company for about 5 years before we came down here.
And are you still a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Do you have dual citizenship?
Right now, I'm solely a U.S. citizen. We're still working on our paperwork to become citizens here. So we've been here for about a year, and our paperwork's in. It's just not totally approved yet.
So how the heck did you decide to come to Cuenca and get into the restaurant business?
That's a good question. We're still not exactly sure how we found ourselves here. We were kind of tired of the mainstream, just running for our jobs. We never saw each other. We never saw our daughter. A lot of times I was gone before she woke up, and I got home after she went to bed. And, that's just kind of the way it is in the States these days. And so we had some savings, and we wanted something different. So we thought it would be a good time to take our savings and do a little traveling. And we really like the South American culture, Spanish. We want our daughter to become bilingual. So we just kind of started looking into South America, and along the way we hit Cuenca, and we just fell in love with it and kind of saw this niche. We both worked in restaurants. My husband worked in restaurants in Hawaii, Charleston, South Carolina, Martha's Vineyard. So before we decided we wanted real jobs after our daughter was born, and then we decided we missed our not real jobs. And so we got here, and we ate out a few times and realized that there was some opportunity to be had here, some gaps with flavor and service. And then we just kind of fell into this place where we could live upstairs and have the restaurant below. And it just was perfect. Yeah. So we just jumped in and said all in.
This is a really interesting place.
Thank you.
I know people have talked about how good the rents and everything are here. Can you give me some idea what?
So our rent for the commercial space, the downstairs, is $850 a month, which is, I think when people say that rent is really inexpensive here, it's not as inexpensive as you think when you read on certain websites. But it is definitely more affordable here for sure. Our rent upstairs is $600. It's a furnished 3-bedroom. So altogether we're right at about $1,450. So that's manageable for us for a commercial space. A lot less than it would be in the States.
Commercial space,
right?
Yeah, that's pretty dramatically different than it might otherwise be.
Absolutely.
So how old did you say your daughter is?
She is 6 years old.
Okay, and how's she adjusting to?
She really likes it. The Spanish has been a little difficult for her. Just at this age, I think she's trying to learn to read and write in English and Spanish at the same time. So she's mixing up her vowels, and she's very independent and stubborn, like her mother, unfortunately. So I think for the first few months, she thought if she only spoke English that everybody else would start speaking English with her, but she's starting to realize that that's not going to be the case, and she's really speaking a lot more Spanish, so it's good.
And do you and your husband speak Spanish?
We do. I speak a little more than my husband does. He's in the kitchen a lot, so he doesn't get to practice as much as I do.
So what actually prompted you to make that move? I mean, you said you had some savings and you were just hustle and bustle.
To be honest, my husband and I worked for the same company, and they basically laid us off a couple weeks before we were vested. So we had this money, and we really both were kind of tired of the business that we were in, the insurance business. We didn't really like the way it was going, and we really didn't want to start over at another company. So we just said, you know what, let's just go and see what else is out there. We had other offers to start at other insurance companies, real estate mortgage companies, different sales jobs, but we just said we don't want to start from the beginning doing sales. So we just decided to, hey, let's just do some traveling and see what happens. And we just realized that there could be a different kind of life than what we were used to at the hustle and bustle and the stress of the States. This is stress. Sometimes, like you were here the other night, and it was stressful.
Business stuff.
But it's our stress. We enjoy that kind of rush in the night, and then we enjoy, decompressing together. But we're all together. So that's the most important thing.
Well, after you arrived here and decided that you're going to stay here, what kind of challenges did you face, or do you think that generally?
I would say we had, just with different cultural things. I think with trying to open the restaurant, in the States, it's, people are competing for your business. They want your business, whether it's a vendor or it's a carpenter or it's a furniture, anybody. Here, it's a lot more tranquilo, a lot more low key. People are making faces at me. A lot more. So people aren't in a rush to do anything, whether it's.
We're going to have to stop to
We might have to stop for a minute anyway, and then, I have people inside. Yeah, we'll take a little break.
Okay, we were talking about challenges that people face coming here, and you were going to tell us about some of the challenges that you faced as an expatriate in Cuenca.
Yes, so a big challenge is that everything is a lot more laid back, and everything's a lot more laid back here, and so everything comes a lot slower. So when people say that it's going to happen tomorrow, it usually doesn't, and our paperwork took a little longer to get to us, and our orders don't always come in right, or they don't come in on time, but it's made us as a whole a lot more patient and laid back. So it's had good sides and bad sides.
Take it in stride.
You have to learn to do that here, absolutely.
So what are some of the best things about living here? And do you think in general, you've traveled quite a bit, living in other countries, and you might mention some of the places you've been.
Yeah, well, I've spent some time in Spain, and I visited, Costa Rica and Panama. And what I really love about Cuenca is that I really love the climate. First of all, I think that year-round, it's probably the most, generally calm, nice climate that you can have, and you know, the people here are really kind. It wasn't as hard as far as visas go as other places. Getting our visas approved and accepted is a lot easier. There were a lot more options as to how to go about getting a visa here, whereas in other places it's a little bit harder. Costa Rica is a lot harder.
Some people have said that the big challenge is that there's such an increasing number of expats who are coming here, and it's impacting things like the health insurance program, and that they are very liberal with in Ecuador and allow Americans.
I'm sorry, one second. I couldn't hold it back. I'm so sorry. We'll edit that out.
You ready?
Yep.
So I was talking about the health insurance program, and that and other things are becoming problematic because there are so many expats coming here and taking advantage of the good social system, I guess, that exists in Cuenca. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, you know, I think I can certainly see both sides of it. You know, you have a lot of people coming from the States that are living off their Social Security from the States. So, you know, they are contributing in a way because they're paying for taxes, they're paying real estate, they are driving prices a little bit up maybe. But, you know, the health care might be a big issue here because they're bringing their ailments from, you know, their sicknesses, and they are maybe, I was an insurance agent for a while, so I can see how that cost will be driven up, and it could become a problem in the future. However, you know, they are building and adding to the economy, so I think it's a great thing that they're here. I think one thing about us that people really say to us is that, well, it's great that you're here starting a business, you're employing locals, you're paying taxes, you're doing all that. So, you know, we don't really see it. We were working here, and so we feel like we're contributing a lot to the, you know, population, to the economy. So
what kind of preparations or orientation did you have before you moved here?
Mostly a lot of online research and a lot of reading from different things, but, you know, we really just, we're kind of the fly by the seat of our pants kind of people. So we did about 2 months of research and got a 6-month visa to start and said, let's go, and we'll just figure it out. And so we traveled around Ecuador a little bit, and really we just kind of like to learn from experience. You know, there's only so much reading you can do.
And you didn't come with empty pockets. I mean, you would save.
We had some savings.
And had done some research, and so you didn't just dump yourself on the.
No. If we didn't have the savings we had, we wouldn't have been able to open this business. So, you know, we basically took the savings we had and we said, okay, this will work. We think this will be a good investment for the money we have, rather than traveling around and letting it whittle down. We decided to just stop and invest our money into the business. So, and we're really happy with our choice. We don't have any debt, unlike a lot of people. You know, we're happy that we don't have any debt. We're living day by day some days, but we don't have any debt. So
the business is going pretty well.
Really well, very well, better than we could have ever dreamed. Actually, we've been open for about seven and a half months, I guess, now. And when we first opened, I think there was that first week when we both looked at each other and thought we must be absolutely crazy. We didn't know what we had gotten ourselves into, because half days we were just empty all day, and some nights we would get packed and we weren't quite ready for it. So it took about 2 weeks for us to find our groove here, and now, you know, we've come a long way. We've tweaked our menu. We have a lot of really wonderful return customers, both expats and Cuencanos. So we're really happy with that. It's been interesting to see, you know, the expats come if you post something on Gringo Tree or Gringo Post or Facebook. The Cuencanos is a lot slower because it's all word of mouth here. So we feel really happy to have some Cuencanos coming because they've heard that it's good. So.
Yeah, I noticed you had quite a few people here today.
Right.
Coming in a little later for lunch than the Americans.
Absolutely.
What advice would you have for other American expats who are considering moving overseas to other countries?
I would say, you know, the only thing that what I see here, and I see a lot of expats that come with the wrong perceptions of what life is going to be like here, because maybe they haven't really traveled much, so they don't really understand what life is going to be like in a third world country or a second world country. So people come here from what they've read on different sites, and they expect to move to basically little America, which is not the case. You have to be willing to immerse yourself in the culture, try to learn the language. You have to be willing to embrace this culture, because that's the only barrier I see between a lot of expats that come here and it doesn't work out. They don't try to embrace the culture, and and it doesn't work out because this is a different country. It's not America.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I know, having lived overseas, and a lot of people do have difficulties and then turn around and go home because you can't recreate America.
Exactly. And a professor, he was telling me that the latest statistic is that about 10% of the expats living in Cuenca are trying to learn Spanish. Only 10%. That's a very low percentage. And I know that it's much more difficult as you get a little older. It's harder for me than my daughter. It's harder for my mom than me to try to learn another language. But I think just making the effort goes a long way.
Okay, that's very important. That comes up continuously as one of the recommendations of the people who have been living here and willing to survive for an extended time, is that you really ought to make an attempt. You need to make an attempt at learning the language and learning about the culture and how it's different, and accepting that.
Absolutely.
Are there anything else you'd like to say or comment about related to stories you've heard about Americans, or your general thoughts about?
No,
I didn't ask you
I think that we have been very lucky. Everybody comes down here with a different reason, whether it's money or whether it's, we have a really good friend that she had cancer in the States, and her health insurance in the States was like $700 a month, and now she's paying $60 a month. That's a huge reason why somebody would move here. But regardless, I think that, couldn't just let me finish that.
I thought you were done. You can edit it out.
Okay, where was I?
Take two.
But the friend who...
So a friend of ours, she moved here because she had cancer. She's a surviving cancer patient, and she is in remission, but her insurance was just outrageous in the States. She couldn't afford it, so she came here, and it dropped from about $600 a month to like $60 a month. So everybody has their different reasons, but we've been very lucky to meet people that are here. They're very kind people, they're open-minded people, whether they're Americans or Cuencanos. We've been very lucky, and we would never take any of this back. It's been a great experience.
Well, that's a great closure, and I want to thank you again, Abby, for your openness and sharing your stories, and wish you luck, and recommend to anybody your restaurant, which is great. The food has been good, the atmosphere is great, and the people seem really fine. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.